Let's rank every hero equipment from the best to the worst, covering which equipment you should prioritize and which ones you can safely ignore. So let's start off with the Barbarian King first, where this is how his equipment ranks from best to worst. Starting within the S tier, we have the Spiky Ball. This has a lot of flexibility that allows it to be ranked so high. Thanks to its high hero boost stats, along with it working with equipment like the Earthquake Boots and Snake Bracelet, it opens the door to plenty of options in attacks for your Barbarian King. Whether you're inside the base or funneling on the outside, the Spiky Ball allows for instant damage with its high projectile damage, enabling your king to hit buildings around him or hit over walls to snipe something like a spell tower. Overall, this is his best equipment that enables your king to be used in more ways that allows you to be more flexible no matter the town hall level. Over in the A tier, we have the Earthquake Boots and Snake Bracelet. These are very good equipment that enable your king to be used in different ways, all in part with how strong and flexible the Spiky Ball is. The Earthquake Boots are generally the best option for your king on the inside of the base, mainly due to its decently high percentage damage, along with the utility it provides to many attacks. However, the Snake Bracelet is the best option when it comes to funneling on the outside due to its high hero boost stats. With a max king gaining 19,440 HP with the Spiky Ball, it's no surprise why it's so good even in the hardest content. The king can tank for quite a long time, and with the ability to spawn snakes, he acts more as a moving siege barracks, tanking for the snakes, which enables them to swarm and take out buildings. These two just give you more options in your attacks, which makes them fairly good options. As for the B tier, the Giant Gauntlet and Rage Vial remain here. These two are very much usable still, thanks to them both working together along with some decent stats that make them fine equipment to run. The Giant Gauntlet offers enough damage reduction and splash damage for a certain period of time, while the Rage Vial boosts the king's movement speed and damage, which works perfectly for the Gauntlet. The main downside is spread out buildings make it harder for the Gauntlet to get value, and without a way to break walls, it's often reduced to only being used within the log launcher. But even then, the Spiky Ball and Earthquake Boots are just better if the king is on the inside of the base. Additionally, the Gauntlet mainly works with the Rage Vial only due to the speed and damage buff giving it value. Without them, the Gauntlet isn't as strong as other options. As for the C tier and F tier, these equipment are just either too niche or just not worth considering, as they lack any utility or power that would be significant enough for the Barbarian King. Up next is the Grand Warden, as this is how his equipment ranks from best to worst. Starting in the S tier, we have the Eternal Tome, Healing Tome, and Fireball. Each of these equipment are quite strong in their own right, while opening the door to different ways to use the Warden. The Eternal Tome and Healing Tome are very solid for most armies, as Support Warden is able to keep them from taking any damage within the Eternal Tome and being healed up from the Healing Tome. This overall lets you have plenty of options when it comes to attacks. However, the Fireball is not as flexible as the Eternal Tome and Healing Tome, but it makes up for it by having a ton of strength. Its high splash damage enables it to be a solid ability to clear out the core in Warden charges or set a funnel for armies in Super Witch or Thrower attacks. However, in the A tier, we have the Rage Gem. This is still a nice ability that offers a good amount of damage boost for most troops and a healing boost to healing units like the Druid or Healer. This, however, does not affect the Warden himself, and heroes underneath this ability will get half of the damage boost at only 25% at max level. Despite that, it's still quite a strong ability that lets you speed up the Warden during Warden charges, or to speed up troops in smash attacks like Throwers and Super Witches, which can hit a lot harder thanks to this passive damage boost. Having the Ice Block spell with this equipment can often allow your troops to heal to full HP with its solid 94% damage reduction, while additionally pairing well with the Healing Tome in Root Rider strategies if you're using 1 or 2 Overgrowth spells. As for the B tier, we have the Heroic Torch. This is the newest epic equipment in the game, and it's usable. While it can work in a small variety of strategies like Mass Valkyrie or Mass Super Yeti, it's often not much better than other options, especially with how low its max level stats are. With that said, its main problem is the duration being too short for its effects, which are already pretty low, with only a 10% damage reduction. By itself, it's not enough to keep your troops protected, so you need to use the Healing Tome or Eternal Tome with it, but it will often lose value since you are sacrificing either the healing or invulnerability for not great returns outside of walking through walls. As for the C tier, these are just a bit too niche to use in many armies and are often just not really worth using over the other equipment the Warden has. As for the Minion Prince, this is how his equipment ranks from best to worst. Starting with the S tier, we have the Dark Orb. The Dark Orb is easily his best equipment due to its ability to slow down defenses in a large radius, and with it lasting so long, it enables your troops to do plenty of damage to defenses while they're slowed. This is perfect for supporting air troops like dragons or dragon riders, and can even still work in ground attacks like root riders or throwers. Keep in mind it also has a bit of damage, so it can activate invisibility spell towers if need be. Within the A tier, we have the Henchman Puppets. This equipment is quite solid, with it spawning 2 units to be used alongside the Minion Prince, while also offering a 1-second invisibility, a large DPS increase, and enough HP recovery to keep him alive. This overall should often be used in most armies thanks to its flexibility, since the Henchman can also soak up Seeking Air Mines, making them perfect to tank for healers, other air troops, or even for the Prince himself. As for the B tier, we have the Metal Pants and Dark Crown. Both of these abilities offer good strength in survivability or damage depending on the situation. If you find the Prince isn't staying alive long enough, the Metal Pants can offer some great protection and survivability, especially if you're using him to funnel where having the added survivability greatly improves his value. However, if you feel like you lack DPS and a bit of HP on him, especially towards the back end of the base, the Dark Crown is a decent choice that mostly works at the higher levels, with them offering a much higher boost. This DPS buff, however, is only really better if it's near max level, and with it needing 180 housing space gone to receive the buff, it's usually not worth it over the Henchman Puppets that gets its DPS buff immediately. As for the C tier, his Noble Iron is quite a niche equipment to Town Hall 16 and Town Hall 17 players, since it gets the best value when paired with the Angry Jelly. As long as you have the Angry Jelly equipped, using it can enable your Prince to clear defenses early on and act similar to a Royal Champion Rocket Spear. This paired with the Siege Barracks will more often than not let you funnel without needing to worry about opening walls. The Archer Queen is up next, where this is how her equipment ranks from best to worst. Within the S tier, we have the Giant Arrow, Action Figure, and Magic Mirror. These 3 equipment are some of the best options for the Archer Queen that can really be used for any strategy, no matter if it's air or ground. The Action Figure is one of those equipment due to it spawning the Giant Event Troop, which has a ton of HP while doing a respectable amount of damage. Due to this, it can work extremely well anytime your queen is inside the base, acting as a tank for your Archer Queen and other troops, or can even be used while the queen is funneling on the outside. The Magic Mirror is another one that works perfectly inside or outside the base due to having multiple queens that can do a ton of DPS, which is perfect if you're inside the base smashing defenses or outside funneling. As for the Giant Arrow, you can often use this in air attacks to snipe air defenses and sweepers, but you can also use it within other armies to activate invisibility spell towers or just to help clear buildings and let your queen set a solid funnel. As for the A tier, we have her Healer Puppets. This ability is still quite good as it offers enough survivability to your Archer Queen, with the healers having a little bit more hero healing thanks to the previous balance change, allowing her to live for a little bit longer. And when used on the outside of the base, you can turn your funnel into a mini queen walk to keep her alive to gain more value. Additionally, using this inside the base can also keep your queen and other troops alive, but you do run the risk of having your healers picked off by air defenses or seeking air mines. However, the equipment within the C tier and F tier are often too niche and not worth using, considering they only work in queen charge attacks, which aren't as strong as other charging strategies and will usually be less flexible than the queen's other equipment choices. Finally, we get to the Royal Champion, where this is how her equipment ranks from best to worst. With the S tier, we have the Electro Boots and Rocket Spear. These two equipment are quite honestly some of the best in the game due to how flexible and strong they are in any strategy. The Electro Boots needs no introduction, as they offer passive DPS and survivability to your Royal Champion, and with the ability to clear skeleton traps with ease, they can often be used in literally every strategy due to how strong they make the Royal Champion. Additionally, the Rocket Spears offer a ton of benefits, such as increased damage with multiple spears and a longer range, which the Royal Champion can take advantage of anytime she's inside the base or using it to start a Royal Champion charge. You can't go wrong with either of these two equipment thanks to their benefits in every single strategy. As for the A tier, we have the Haste Vial. This equipment is mostly used during Royal Champion charges, either early on to speed up the funnel or used within the core during long Royal Champion charges. This allows your Royal Champion to get insane value while clearing out defenses, but it can be risky if you cannot keep up with the Royal Champion. So while not the most flexible equipment option, there are a good amount of situations where it still remains quite strong, such as in Royal Champion Charge Dragon attacks. Within the B tier, we have the Hog Puppets. These guys remain a decent choice for those who may not have access to the Rocket Spear, but can still be a solid choice for both survivability and damage with the spawning of additional Hog Riders. Keep in mind that if you're using a Royal Champion charge with this, you must not activate this ability during the charge, as it offers very little, if anything, and will be a waste of an ability. It's often better just to use this with other troops, such as Root Riders or Super Hogs, that can take advantage of the additional defensive targeting troops. And with the C tier and the F tier, these are just too niche to consider using, or just not worth it due to their abilities being far weaker than the rest of her abilities. With that said, here is a tier list for every hero so you know which equipment you should prioritize and which ones you should avoid for each and every hero. If you want the minimum levels for most of these equipment, I suggest checking out this video right here, and also YouTube says this one is the best for you.